You do not hear the game, I just noticed. Hi, and welcome back to my next stream. I'm Chaos to the power of 10, and we will play the Winter Tower today. We started it last week. But yeah, we stopped in the... I'm not even sure if it is the middle. Somewhere. We stopped somewhere, okay? Wait, let me first... How do I... Normally... Oops, that was loud. I'm so sorry. Where is it? Yeah, loud again. Is that fine? I hope it is fine. Wait. Yeah, we started this last week with a lot of demos. Other demos. And... Our father fell down from a horse. We are the princes of the kingdom. Our evil stepmom has a son who wants to be the heir to the kingdom. But basically we should be, because we are the firstborn blood child. Hi, Carol. Wait. Thank you for first. Hi. Yeah, we are the firstborn blood-related child. But we were sent away to a coming-of-age ritual. We have to stay at a tower for a year and care for that tower. I don't know why that is a ritual, but meh. It was either we are marrying or we go to the tower. So, to the tower we go, I guess. In the tower, all the doors were closed. We went into the basement because we had a hamster? Yeah, hamster. And there we found this guy. I cannot remember his name. He is something magical. I believe we don't know yet what he is. He said if he leaves the basement, he cannot care for himself. He cannot lift a hand, he said. And if he opens the door for us, we will have to care for him for the year. And behind the doors were a bunch of elves. And the elves do not like to be lied to. So the elves do not like us, but they all asked us to take care of him. Then we cooked for him. He didn't even know how to use a spoon. So basically, we are now the mom of a bunch of elves and this grown-up man. What I believe, maybe, is that he was banished down there as a child, and since then he just was stuck down there, so he didn't ever learn to do anything. Or maybe it is just a curse that he cannot do anything. We will figure it out, I guess. Hi, Carol, again. Hi. How is you? How is your Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. Wednesday. Let's load the chapter 4. No snow sugar. Oh, that's way better. But you cannot hear it. There we go. If you were ever to celebrate your coming-of-age ceremony at the Winter Tower, you would find yourself welcomed by a door sealed with piles of snow. A horse glued to the fireplace who would refuse its feet with hostility, and elves that fought you for the jar of sugar cubes. Not only the elf, of course, but a certain man might try to steal the jar as well. Why are they fighting over sugar? Alexis! How many times have I told you that sugar is for shadow?
It's as I told you,
Ah, yeah.
Kate.
He munches on the sugar cubes you had taken from the jar.
I need a regular dose of sugar.
Yeah, but that's normally in food. Not just bare sugar. The amount of sugar you consume every day is abnormal. You will bleed syrup if you prick your finger at this rate. Diabetes, yeah. Huh?
Possibly.
Why are you doing this?
I can't say either way since I've never bled much.
Well, if you are wearing these things the whole time, then yeah. I put my hand out, demanding he gives the jar back. He licked his lips with disappointment and grabbed a bag of crackers as he handed me the sugar jar. Have those if you need a snack. We have a limited supply of sweets here, unlike all at the castle. You may take my portion of sweets, but I can't allow you to take shadows.
But crackers are dry and awful.
Then dips in something. I sigh heavily as I watched him grumpily nibble on the crackers. Why do you and the elves love sweets so much?
Have you never heard the story?
No. What story?
The one about how snow is God sprinkling sugar crystals onto the planet.
Then eat snow. Then eat snow and not my sugar. Why sugar instead of salt?
Salt is disgusting.
No, salt can be quite tasty. You shouldn't eat it raw, in like scoops. But salt is nice.
Even God prefers sugar.
How do you know this? Do you know God? If you said that in front of a priest, you would be branded a heretic. He choked on a cracker. He hastily massaged his throat and reached for a glass of water.
What I mean to say is the elves were born that way.
By God liking sugar? That could be taken strangely.
It's natural.
He emphasized his words for effect.
Elves to the very core love sweets, pranks, and...
Alexis! I will have to go for a second. Give me a second. That's better. I turned something off. Now I'm happy. Am I sitting straight? Looks good. Suddenly, the fireplace went cold, and an elf jumped out. Alexis turned to the elf and regarded them calmly.
What brought you here all by yourself? Where is your partner?
I turned to the fireplace as the elf rushed to grab something. However, he was not strong enough to pull it out. Alexis reached into the chimney to help, to no avail. Nor was I helpful in assisting the two of them. Whatever was in the chimney, it was probably jammed in there. Properly. We need an extra hand. Who should I call for help? Father? These two don't make sense. They are not here. Why would we call for them? So, Romanovs is our butler at the castle, and our father is unconscious. So, Shadow. Shadow pretended she didn't hear me, busy looking for something more engaging. How could you? I was sure Alex's laziness had begun influencing her. Shadow, if you help me pull this out, I will treat you to a whole bag of snacks. It was the word snacks that finally moved her. Just you wait, Shadow. When it gets warmer, I will retain you properly. Retrain. I took a deep breath before shouting. Pull on the count of 3. 1, crack. 2, crackle. Though I heard something crackling, there was no turning back now. 3. Almost there, but we need more force. More force than a horse? What is stuck there? What should I do? Apparently Shadow was the strongest out of us 4. How can I convince Shadow to pull harder? If I want to use this one, because I don't want her to get even more snacks. But on the other hand, if we frame somebody that comes down there, they will dislike them. And that could be problematic in the future. Shadow, I will give you as many snacks as you want. That's a bad one. That you shouldn't say. They will eat a lot. But she still seemed as interested. What? It appears she wouldn't fall for the same trick twice. What do you mean? There was no trick yet. How can I convince Shadow to pull harder? Okay, I guess we frame the person. Shadow, this thing in the chimney is the one who stole all your snacks. Oh, why is Shadow... I don't know, but with the idea of Shadow in mind, I would have guessed a black horse, or a, I don't know, brown? Bluish? White with blonde wasn't the first thing I came, you know. I would call her maybe Snow. Or something, you know? Okay. Shadow neighed at the top of her lungs and pulled with a force of might I had ever witnessed in my entire life. Crack, slam, boom. With a loud bang, the room was covered in soot. Everyone coughed and sneezed incessantly due to the dust. I desperately reached to open the window to ventilate the room. Soon the ashes settled and my vision cleared. Then I noticed that the only one still in decent shape was Shadow, who stood in proud triumph. The power of snacks sure is something. I gave Shadow a pat on her neck and fed her sugar cubes one by one. Alexis, on the other hand, looked abysmal. He picked up the crackers that he had dropped and gradually approached the spherical object in the corner of the room.
Is this your partner?
The elf gave an affirmative nod. Only elves and smoke could pass through the chimney, but this fellow was rounder than the ones I was used to seeing. The only thing that gave this sphere away were his pointy head and the face below it. Huh, I have seen those odd eyebrows somewhere before. Hey, you are the thief who stole our sugar cubes a couple of days ago. I cannot remember. That must have happened off-screen, because I cannot remember somebody stealing my sugar. The elf, now that his crime had been revealed, waved his arms and legs in an attempt to run away. However, the most he could do was struggle to keep his balance. Wow. I didn't expect my random excuse would turn out to be true. He was like the other elves a few days ago. What could have happened to him between now and then? Too much sugar? Alexis, I have a question for you.
All right.
Is turning into a giant ball, becoming round like him, part of an elf's maturation?
This is the effect of snow sugar disease.
Diabetes. Grant. Snow sugar disease?
Remember when I told you that snow was God sprinkling sugar crystals onto the planet?
Yes. Wasn't that only a story?
Well, real snow certainly doesn't taste as sweet.
Yeah. Alexis licked his lips as if he were disappointed by his own words.
Even so, snow and sugar look very similar, don't they?
To be honest, not really. If you catch snow, it looks like fluffy. Meanwhile, sugar is more like sand. I would rather say it looks like sand. And if you look at under a microscope, it looks really different. From a distance, yes.
If elves don't regularly ingest sweets, they become like this.
Oh, it's the opposite of diabetes. I've seen people become overweight because they ate too many sweets, but never the other way around. Snow is more like flour. Yeah, I guess. Flour flies around if you are throwing it. You know what I mean? You know, not all of it, of course. Most of it will land on the ground. But you see the dust flowing around. So yeah, flour would be more like snow. And sugar is more like sand. Yeah. Alexis gave me a strange look.
Aren't they the same thing?
Why would they be the same thing? In what way?
The elves' main source of energy is sugar, just as grains are for humans.
Yes, but we turn round if we eat too much of it. The elf turns round if he eats not enough of it. There is a difference. In any case, do you have a solution? He nodded.
I understand that this will be difficult for you, my friend.
Are you telling me I have to give you sugar?
However, you won't be able to climb through the chimneys in your condition. You barely made it out of this one.
He pointed at the messy fireplace.
You're banned from eating any more snow sugar until you're back to normal.
Wait, what? Did I remember wrong? History. If elves don't regularly ingest sweets, they become round like this. And now he says that he is banned from eating them because he's not fitting in there? I have the feeling there was some kind of typo. I have the feeling they are telling us, oh, you... Okay, so if they are eating too much sugar, they become like this. Yes? Because now you are banning him from eating sugar so that he will fit back into the chimney. Do I understand this correct? I hope so. The single teardrop fell from one of the elf's eyes. The elf who was banned from eating snow sugar went crazy baking himself sweets and pastries to eat every day. Because I stopped allowing the elves to use the sugar kept in the tower, where he found all the sugar was beyond me. Oh, where he found all the sugar was beyond me. To my surprise, the elf's neck was visible after only 2 days of treatment. Then his legs after 3 days and his arms after 10. The treatment for snow sugar disease seemed effective until the elf entered the sedentary phase. He could barely fit the width of the chimney. For half a month, the elf continued his strict diet, which was heavily based on sugar, of course. Wait. Which way around is it now? I'm confused. Now he says continues his strict diets, which was heavily based on sugar. Is that saying that he has to eat sugar, or is he not allowed to eat sugar? And here they say the elf who was banned from eating snow sugar. Is snow sugar different to normal sugar? So now they use sugar as a substitute? Maybe? You're confused? I'm confused. So maybe snow sugar is snow. Okay? Let's imagine it. Snow sugar is normal snow because snow sugar, he said, is God sprinkling sugar on the earth. You know, as snow. So now, instead of if they eat too much snow sugar, he's getting round. So instead, he's now eating normal sugar to substitute for the sweet taste. But this normal sugar doesn't give him energy, basically, so basically it is diet with sugar. Maybe? Because here they also say, from snow sugar went crazy baking himself sweets and pastries to eat every day because I stopped allowing the elves to use the sugar kept in the tower. Where he found all that sugar was beyond me. So he is using sugar in the baked goods. Is snow sugar no sugar? Not that kind of sugar. I hope not. If they start snorting snow, I'm distressed. Or did he switch from sugar to stevia? I guess it is that way, but instead of snow sugar, he's using normal sugar. But the normal sugar is basically stevia for them. I don't understand this. This is confusingly written. Since it was their primary source of energy, it was the equivalent of a human eating only bread for 3 meals a day. Yeah, but if you eat too much of bread, you still will gain weight. Bread has sugar? No, bread has no sugar. Well, it depends on the bread, but normally bread doesn't have sugar. Bread also don't have eggs, as far as I know. That is confusing. To feed the yeast, yes, it has sugar. I'm quite sure there is no sugar in bread. It depends on the bread. If it is a sweet white bread, then there could be sugar in there. But I believe in the normal healthy, like brown bread, I guess, there isn't. But I have not really made a lot of breads in my life, so me. He began to look somber. I noticed the darkness in the elf's eyes in the afternoons that day. Hi Roxanne, hi. Thank you for a second. Do you know, does bread have sugar? Yeah, Also, we are confused. Elves are eating weirdly. New. Yeah. Right? Unless it is sweet white bread, I believe. Oh, cute. Cute kitty. The elf turns dark. He's evil now because he doesn't get snow sugar? Ugh. It had been warm since the morning and I was on my way back before taking a rainy shadow for a walk. I went into the pantry to get sugar cubes for her when I noticed Alexis speaking to the elf and taking away his honey biscuits. Next, Alexis shoved the biscuits into his own mouth. That wasn't the end of it. He snatched all the cookies and sweets the elf had baked and threw them into a cracker bag. The elf stood there helplessly as he watched Alexis take his desserts. It depends on the bread. Yeah, okay. I'm confused. I'm really confused. I don't know what to do. So, they said if elves eat too much snow sugar, they turn round. So the elf instead eats normal sugar, apparently, as far as I understand it, and loses weight, right? Because it's not snow sugar. So why would Alexis take away his desserts? Unless normal sugar counts as snow sugar too? Or it is any sugar they cannot eat too much of? Then it would make sense for Alexis to eat or to take away the sweets. But then the elf wouldn't have lost weight. Because he ate a lot of it in the last month, half a month. So what is this? This is the effect of snow sugar disease. Remember when I told you that snow was God sprinkled sugar crystals onto the planet? Well, real snow certainly doesn't taste as sweet. Even so, snow and sugar look very similar, don't they? If elves don't regularly ingest sweets, they become like this. If elves don't regularly ingest sweets, they become like this. So round. So they need to eat sweets to stay slim. Wait. There. I've seen people become overweight because they ate too many sweets, but never the other way around. So here it is that don't. Okay. Aren't they the same thing? In what way? The elf's main source of energy is sugar, just as grains are for humans. However, you won't be able to climb through the chimney in your condition. You barely made it out of this one. You are banned from eating any more snow sugar until you are back to normal. Here they say normal sugar, not snow sugar. Here they say sugar. And here he's banning him from eating any more snow sugar. Here he is starting to bake pastries with a lot of sugar in it and loses weight by doing so. And here he takes away the baked goods. I'm confused. So maybe it is more like normal sugar is more like bread. Meanwhile, snow sugar is more like a, let's say, a burger. You know. Okay, normal sugar is more healthy for them than the snow sugar. Since the main energy source should be sugar. So basically, snow is like a sweet treat. Meanwhile, normal sugar is healthy for them. Because they are elves, winter elves, I guess. So the elf ate a lot of snow sugar instead of normal sugar, and therefore ate unhealthily and became round. So now he is banned from eating snow sugar, but is supposed to eat all the sugar, the normal one. But why would he then take away the desserts? I'm confused. We are too. We all are. I have the feeling there was an idea, and because it was talked so much about, at some point they turned it around accidentally. Maybe. And now we need to figure out with which one they ran off with. First of all, I think it's rude to take away his sweets. He baked it. He can ask if he can have anything. Alexis? You shouldn't steal desserts from the elves just because I told you not to steal from Shadow. Alexis didn't bat an eye when I yelled at him.
He shouldn't be eating these.
Why? We are confused. Why? What nonsense is that? Return those desserts immediately and never do this again, or else I will take away your crackers. Alexis remained silent for a moment, then posed a question.
Do you really want me to?
Eat the crackers? Yes. Is that even a question? Alexis sighed deeply before returning everything he had taken from the elf. Everything seemed perfect on the surface. However, the problem eventually reared its head again. Is Alexis still stealing the elf's dessert behind my back? I kept an eye out for Alexis, but he seemed to have lost interest in the elf after I scolded him. I assumed he lost interest because the elf had been instructed not to consume snow sugar, but Alexis was the one who began losing weight. Wait. I assumed he lost interest because the elf had been instructed not to consume snow sugar, which the elf didn't, but Alexis was the one who began losing weight. Alexis?
Yes?
His voice sounded fragile. Don't you eat enough sugar? Do you have to eat sugar? Why do you think the elf isn't recovering from snow sugar disease?
Because no one is keeping an eye on him.
Someone mixed the things. Yeah. And I'm not sure if it is the word snow sugar or normal sugar. Or if it is they should eat it or don't eat it. But he's still making himself sweets and pastries. Isn't that the healthy diet you mentioned?
Not all sweets are healthy.
Then be more specific with me, because we are all confused with what you are saying. Alexis walked over to the pantry and returned with 1 jar of honey and 1 jar of sugar cubes.
What do these look like to you?
Sugar. Both of them, sugar. Honey and sugar?
Did you know that honey is made from sugar?
Yeah. Well, it's made of pollen, but yeah. Honey is made by bees and sugar is processed from sugarcane. Are you implying otherwise?
You can use sugar to create a honey-like substance.
Well, yes, but I can also use a lot of other stuff to produce a honey-like substance.
Does that make it real honey?
No, it wasn't pollen. That's what I just said, wasn't it? Artificial honey made from sugar? That's a lot like how Igor pretend he's the rightful family successor. The answer's no. It's syrup, it's not honey.
Are biscuits made using fake honey real honey biscuits?
No? It would be syrup biscuits. Isn't it basically the same thing since they are both just used for sweetness? Alexis smiles bitterly.
You only put it that way because you aren't interested in sweets.
Yeah, well, not that much. As long as it is sweet, it's okay. Also, I cannot eat honey, so...
If someone created a replica of your ring, would both your ring and the replica be considered real?
No. Of course not. These rings are symbols of my family. They have a vast, rich history.
Honey biscuits also have a vast, rich history.
Not as much as my heirloom ring. After finishing his explanation, that wasn't an explanation at all, Alexis put the honey jar and sugar jar back where they belonged, without taking a handful of sugar cubes.
Elves must eat only sweets that strictly follow recipes developed for them.
Okay. Do you mean to say all those sweets the elf ate were bad for him, even though they looked the same? Wait. Is the problem... Okay, he took away honey biscuits. I saw that one. I read that, I can remember. It was honey biscuits he put away. Is he applying that they shouldn't eat honey? Or they should eat honey? Were they fake honey biscuits, therefore they are bad for them? Or are real honey biscuits bad? Could you be straight with me, please?
That is correct.
Why didn't you tell me that before? Why are you so puzzling? Oh sugar, oh honey, honey, you are my candy girl. I cannot sing, but I can remember that one. Alexis stared straight at me.
This question again?
Yes. I know you cannot lift a hand, but if you cannot lift a hand, you at least should tell me what I should do. Straight, not this weird whatever you are doing.
You asked me that on the first day we met.
Yes. Did you assume I wouldn't believe you again?
You aren't concerned about what the elves eat.
I am, but I also see that he lost weight, so why is it a problem?
You don't even bother to find out what they like or do as long as it doesn't disturb you.
I cannot go in there. Excuse me. They live in the chimney. I cannot go into the chimney. I'm a grown-up.
As I've already told you clearly, those sweets aren't good for them.
Then tell me what sweets are good for them. Sorry, it just popped in my head. No, it's fine. I'm feeling like in a really bad relationship right now. On second thought, Alexis wasn't the kind of person to bully and steal desserts from an elf. Well, he still would steal sugar cubes from me. So of course I would also assume that he would steal desserts from an elf. I had misunderstood Alexis, and it was all because I hadn't shown an interest in him or the elves. I mean, he could... if I wouldn't be interested, I would have just said nothing to the situation and went away. I don't care, you do you. By saying, could you not do that? I do care, show that I care about that it is fair. That he just doesn't steal anything from the elves. Because he wants sugar or something. I can make an honest mistake by not knowing what they need to eat, but that's also nothing you learn. That's not normal knowledge. So how am I supposed to know if nobody here tells me in the first place? Never before had I felt too ashamed to apologize. Yet for some reason I couldn't open my mouth. It was as if my lips were glued shut. Well, I have the feeling we both have some kind of problem here. That's not on me alone. In the end, I didn't give a single word of apology. I decided to focus on helping the elf recover from snow sugar disease instead. He did well, so why would I argue that he did not well? He lost weight by doing whatever he did, so why would I assume that what he is doing is bad? I eventually got the hang of distinguishing real dessert from fake ones by continuously reviewing the recipes in the library. Growing up in the castle, I was raised on the finest cuisine, differentiating between fake honey and real honey, or snow sugar from real sugar. Wasn't much of a challenge once I learned the trick. Every dessert the elf baked used snow sugar. He must have done it intentionally. The more my memory jogged, the more furious I became. The elf must not have expected me to react. His expression became blank as I took away his desserts. He must have had so much fun eating those desserts behind my back every day. Well, that's on the elf then. If he knows that he cannot go back home, being how he is at the moment. I louse people who disobey my order and try to trick me. It wasn't even my order. Jesus Christ. Today I will teach you a lesson you won't soon forget. I gave Shadow and the elf an angry grin. The plan was to use a traditional method of encouraging a desired behavior. The carrot and stick method. We do not stick the elves. Or our horse. After exactly 10 days of my training program, I was able to get both Shadow and the elf in proper shape. So, snow sugar is like honey? I still don't know. The story apparently is that God sprinkled sugar on the earth, and that's snow. That's what we understand so far. The elf handed me an armful of snacks and desserts, then ran off to the fireplace. Alexis.
Kate.
Hi. Alexis had become even thinner recently. Do you eat the wrong stuff? I handed him a recipe book I found in the library. Would you like to try to read this book, Alexis? I will help you find the difficult parts.
Sure.
Huh? Did we do good or bad? I'm confused. Forbidden trick. Why is he getting thinner? Tap tap. A white pigeon pecked at the frozen window. I don't understand this. I let it in while rubbing at my tired eyes. The pigeon landed atop my hand, carrying the cool scent of winter on its feathers. My family emblem was attached to the leather strap around its left leg, and a note was tied around its right leg. Who is this from? Oh, Romanov. I pocketed the note and tied the letter I had prepared ahead of time to its leg. I had been exchanging letters with Romanov like this once a week. If the pigeon didn't arrive after a month or carried a suspicious message, it means that something that has happened at the castle. The identity of the ring thief has been uncovered. The note delivered more information. 2 months was more than sufficient. Romanov had been distracting them, buying me 2 months' worth of time. Now that they knew I was the one who took the ring, they would try whatever they could to get them from me. Since they couldn't exactly command the Ivanov army to march here, they would likely opt to send a few selected, well-trained soldiers undercover. Oh goodness. The kitchen was in chaos. I don't have the kitchen in me. Don't accuse me. It was as if there had been an explosion. The floor was covered in a mysterious fluid. A suspicious glowing pot extinguished the flame of the hearth it was set upon. The elves were sweating in a panic, frozen to the spot. This was a scene I found after returning from a 2-hour walk. You had better have a good explanation for... Took out the spoon. Take out the spoon. Wait. Spoon? All of this? The elves vigorously shook their heads when they met my glare. Not me. No me. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. From my own personal experience with the elves, I knew they were poor liars. Who caused this mess? They wouldn't tell me who the culprit was. They even tried their best to avoid my gaze and act as if they couldn't hear me. If not the elves, however, there was only one other suspect. Alexis! Alexis walked down the stairs with a book in his hand. His calmness in spite of the mess in the kitchen gave him the air of a seasoned warrior. Unfortunately for Alexis, this was not a battlefield, nor was he a fighter.
Calm down.
No? What is this?
Getting all worked up like that is bad for your heart.
Then don't make me feel that way. Because if the kitchen is a mess and I am the one that has to clean it, I am allowed to be evil. How could you make the kitchen this messy in a blink of an eye? Alexis retrieved balls of soot from the glowing pot and placed them on the table.
Still far from perfecting the look of it.
What are you making? Charcoal? Alexis snapped at me.
How rude.
Excuse me, if it is just a black ball, then I would say it is charcoal.
These are almond cookies.
You need to bake some cookies.
You'll understand if you taste them.
I believe that's bad for my health. You must be joking.
Try one if you don't believe me.
Sure. Since Alexis refused to eat anything that wasn't sweet, I might as well trust him. I chipped off a piece of the burnt mass, praying it would be okay after I swallowed it. Huh? To my surprise, it did in fact taste like an almond cookie. Moreover, it had an excellent balance between creaminess and nutty texture from the almonds. It suited my taste perfectly, even though I wasn't a huge fan of sweets. Let's say it that way. Even if the inside of that stuff is still good, normally if it is so dark on the outside, you would still taste the burnt. So I'm waiting for that part. The savoriness lingered on my taste buds for a long while. Cookies mishapped like balls of soot. Did you do it on purpose, like those pranks the elves pull on me?
If only that were the case.
Alexis handed me a cup of tea as he watched me grab more of his soot balls.
I tried making them the way you taught me, but things ended up like this because I lost control of the fire.
Okay, and what is the fluid on the ground? The way I taught him? When in the world did I teach him to bake cookies in a pot? Alexis opened a book he had set aside and directed my attention to a specific recipe.
See here? It says keep stirring on a low flame.
Cookies?
How fast and how low should it be?
Doesn't that mean you should stir the pot on a flame that's close to extinguishing? At that moment, a realization struck me like lightning. Alexis, please don't tell me you were following these instructions in the most literal sense.
I was.
Keep stirring on a low flame. Huh? His naive, sparkling eyes put me in a cold sweat. Since cooking wasn't a necessary skill for succeeding my father's title, I never paid much attention to it. I hadn't anticipated that Alexis would take my suggestions so seriously. Frankly speaking, it was a miracle that he had made cookies in a pot which was clearly only meant for soups and stews. Perhaps Alexis is naturally talented at cooking. No flame? Yes. Maybe it's the English-German problem right now? So here they say, please don't tell me you are following these instructions in the most literal sense. And the instruction says, keep stirring on a low flame. Can somebody explain to me what is that supposed to mean? Because here it says like, oh, cookies in a pot. So we know that we need to bake the cookies. But if the recipe says keep stirring on a low flame, that sounds like a cooking thing to me too. But this kitchen's done for. He might have been inexperienced with the tools of the trade, but the quality of his final product spoke for itself. Well, it's still black and should taste burnt. My staring at the charred cookies embarrassed Alexis. He cleared his throat and spoke.
I'll bake better-looking cookies next time.
Bake. There's nothing wrong with these ones. They taste delicious. Plus, clearly my instructions weren't clear enough last time. Well, huh? If the instructions are stir on low heat, then yes, that is what? What do you expect to happen?
Truly?
I'm confused. Yeah, I mean it. And they go well with this tea.
Thank you for the compliment.
What is the fluid on the ground? Alex's voice was slightly brittle, but it was too subtle to decipher the exact reason behind that emotion. I would have had a wonderful afternoon once the chaos in the kitchen was taken care of, but... Take care of me. I'm in the kitchen. Take care of me, please. The elves wouldn't allow for a single moment of peace. They began crawling out of the chimney, one by one. The one that is still on fire? Give me a break. While ordinary elves' heads reached up to my thigh, the elf in front of me had barely reached up to the belt of the rest of them. Oh, does this one have some sort of illness? I whispered into Alex's ear.
No.
Oh, he's just small.
They were only born recently.
Ah, a newborn. Alexis picked up the baby elf and pressed their forehead together, then whispered a blessing. Ah, Chaos, don't fall. It's a slippery floor. It is for sure wet, with something we don't know what it is.
Hello.
Oh, baby elf.
I am Alexis Yevgenik Strelnikov.
Oh yeah. Jevenik Strelnikov.
Welcome to this sweet world.
Wait, they can still run. They can already run around? The tiny elf giggles while happily tapping on Alexis's cheeks.
Kate, would you like to hold him too?
Yes? I guess no is a bad answer, huh? As a person, I need to like children, apparently. Sure.
Here.
Good that we hold them as far away from us as possible in this picture. Alexis handed me the little elf while I was lost in thoughts. Unexpectedly, he felt very light. Hello? My name is Ekaterina Ivanova. Nice to meet you. He was very light and very small. Would you? That's not really small. That's child size. I guess. You know? The baby elf giggled and touched my face as he had done to Alexis. Didn't they say the other ones go up to my knee or something? Okay, the heads that are pointy heads reaches up to my thigh. I'm guessing that is the upper thigh. And the baby reaches barely up to the belt of the rest of them. So that would be like maybe knee high. Okay? The baby is maybe knee high. Could work out, I guess. But that's again kinda like normal baby height, so it's a little bit confusing. Every time his fingers brushed against my skin, sparkles drifted through the air. After lunch, I went out for a walk as an excuse to be alone. Though he did ask me to look after him. I couldn't organize my thoughts amid the flood of unnecessary mental images I had created. I have certainly become lazier since arriving at the Winter Tower. Eee, baby. Oh. Damn. I found this time of peace quite awkward, perhaps because I didn't need to follow a strict training regimen here. I kept up with my training every day, but it still felt as if I were lacking something important. Siren and her son must be up to something. Well, keeping up with my training is the best I can do for now. I won't let myself be shaken easily. Alright, time to head back. I had never gotten lost in the woods before, yet I couldn't find the Winter Tower despite walking for quite a while. I had memorized my surroundings, so I was sure I hadn't wandered too far away. Even so, I was undeniably lost. I took a compass out of my pocket. Though I don't use this often, it's better than nothing. Oh, sorry, I almost fell asleep. Your voice is very relaxing. Do not fall asleep. Do not fall asleep. We need to go to Rekudo. Do not fall asleep. But thank you. It was bizarre to find myself lost in the woods, in spite of my instincts and experience telling me I was moving in the right direction. I walked in the direction the compass pointed towards. So, north? I guess. Yes, that was what I did. I should mark the trees. I marked every tree I walked past. This way, I wouldn't walk around in circles. This method, however, proved to be useless as well. It seems as though I was moving in the opposite direction from what I intended. When I turned left, I moved right and vice versa. How did I figure that one out? My sense of direction is being messed with. Well, apparently also the how do you call it again? The thing that you have in your hand. Apparently that also doesn't work. There was no point in moving forward, so I decided to take a break under a tree. Luckily, I had my rapier strapped to my waist. I could defend myself if something tried to attack me. I should stay alert in case of wild beasts. I wouldn't have been as worried about being chased if Shadow had been with me. Why did this happen? Because of Alexa's soot cookies. The baby elf pranked me. I became too lazy, or I have no idea. So, who to blame? I could imagine that the baby elf pranked me by accident. Because of the sparks. You know, touching my head sparks seemed to be something that could happen. But I will not blame the baby. I have no idea. This isn't the time to sit around and theorize about the cause of my condition. Hi Luna, hi. How is you? Oh, I believe Hogness is not yet here. There we go. Oh, Growl. Growls resounded from the nearby brush. I'm okay, how goes the game? We are all confused. I have the feeling sometimes they do easy switch arounds, basically. So they say first something and then they switch it to the other side, basically. Therefore confusing us what should we say if they ask us what should we answer, you know? For example, there was an elf with something like diabetes, but for elves apparently they said, oh, that happens if they don't eat sugar. So it's like upside down diabetes. And then later they say, oh, but he doesn't eat the right sugar, so that's also bad. But they never said that beforehand, so our choice was really messed up. And he was banned from eating sugar then. That doesn't make sense because they first said, oh, but they need to eat sugar. I don't understand. And then there was a kitchen accident, and it was the same thing again. But I guess we chose correctly in that one, because people weren't upset with me. There are quite a few of them. The confused seems about right. Yeah. Exactly, yes. I really like the game so far, like artistic-wise, but if the story keeps going so confusing, I don't know what to do. Judging by the sound, I was being accosted by a pack of hungry wolves. I stood up and wielded my rapier, ready for combat. While teaching me how to hunt, my father once told me the following: even if I never went myself, I should at least understand the art of the hunt. Bring it on. Yeah, that's the idea of a hunt. Bring it on. Surrounded by wolves. Fighting it alone, sure. An attack is coming from the right. Why would we slash to the left? So right now, the idea is we had a baby elf in our hand, and the baby elf touched our face and there were sparks. Then we went on a walk in the forest, and it felt like if we are going right, we are going left instead. Messing with our head, basically. So we cannot really find the tower. We cannot find back. So we sit down and rested. And now we are attacked by wolves. It says an attack is coming from the right, but the magic maybe messed with our head. Left is right. So should we slash to the left to then hit it? Since my senses are reversed, I must slash to the left. Okay. I reflexively slashed my rapier to the right, so I had to sweat blood to swerve the blade. What? Arc? My reaction time was slowed because I had to think twice before acting. The wolf's fang narrowly pierced my left thigh. Oh. What? Okay. I know what happened, and I'm mad about it. So, she is saying an attack is coming from the right, and I think, okay, it's coming from the right, this part is the truth, so we are slashing to the left, so that by proximity, by logic, we should slash right instead, correct? Because we are confused left and right. But instead, it turned this one upside down. So the attack didn't came from the right, but from the left. Wait, but then we would be also right. What? Wait, are both confused? What is this? I must slash to the left. Yes, and I did that. I reflexively slashed my rapier to the right. Okay, they are both confused. No, that's not how this works normally. I see. So, what you normally would do is the thing that is described is not affected. Normally, I would argue the thing that is described is not affected. But your choice is affected by left-right switches, right? So in this idea, this one would be right, so right. But our choice would be affected, left-right switch. So we use left to swipe right. That's normally how that works, I guess. It could be the other way around, that the description is upside down, basically. So instead it says an attack is coming from the left. But that would turn into the same thing. Yeah? In this game, apparently, they decided to switch both. So here it says an attack is coming from the left. And here it says, basically, your slash is to the right. Chaos like rather go to the messy kitchen. I will follow you happily. Why would you switch up both? I have the feeling that is not how that works. Shouldn't work. Shouldn't work. Never worked in any other way. In any other game. My head hurts from this. My head doesn't hurt. Not from this. From the arguments with Alexis. Yes, a lot, because Alexis is... Huh? This just makes me mad. So basically, the attack came from the left, we swiped right instead, so now we are attacked. Here it says from the left, though. Wait. That shouldn't be that way. That doesn't make sense either. You see, here it says an attack is coming from the right. So our brain switches left with right, correct? Here it says right. Here it says the wolf fangs narrowly pierced my left thigh. So this one is correct. Why is this one not switched? Running away is too difficult right now. Yeah, I have a wolf in my leg. What is this? So I don't think I could lose them without Shadow's help either way. If this was Igor's scheme, I would have to compliment him for thinking with his brain for once. Yeah, Igor is sending a pack of wolves after us. My agility has dropped because of my cut, but there was no time to stitch it up. If I think about moving in any particular direction, I will end up moving in the opposite direction. Yes, I knew that. But I didn't know how you would play that out, I guess. This game feels like it's trying to trick you no matter what. Yes. If I try to control the direction in reverse, my reaction time is slower. Huh? If I try to control the direction in reverse, my reaction time is slower. So... let's just follow my instincts instead of thinking. Cough, cough. Why are we coughing? Gasp. Why are we gasping? 1, 2, 3. There were exactly 13 wolf carcasses. Each with their hearts pierced through. What happened? Did we just jump over the epic fight? The rest fled when they realized I wasn't easy prey. If they didn't find an easier kill, there was always a chance they would come back for me. Nonetheless, the threat disappeared for the time being. Good. The cut isn't deep, so wait, we jumped over the whole fight, and apparently we just killed 13 wolves while we were hurt on our left thigh and had problems thinking left and right. Was there a time jump? You killed 13? Yes, I guess it was. I guess there is a time jump. I wish they would show it clearly that there is a time jump. Blood dripped from the wound. I maintained a defensive position as I ripped a piece of cloth off my dress and used it to stop the bleeding. Had the fang cut my thigh any deeper, I might have found myself in critical condition. My strategy of relying on my instincts worked, fortunately. I hypothesized that if I acted with a specific direction in mind, some sort of spell would reverse my sense of direction. When I get back, I will have to ask Alexis what he thinks about my condition. My vision blurred and spun after that tough battle. My ringing ears and short breaths were signs of a low body temperature. Chaos, I made too much food. Do you want some? Yes, please. I would love. I still need to cook. The torn clothes and severe bleeding answered the question of why I was in this condition. Wait, didn't it just say it wasn't that bad? Had the fangs cut my thigh any deeper, I might have found myself in critical condition. The torn clothes and severe bleeding answered the question of why I was in this condition. So are we in critical condition or are we not in critical condition? It'll be a problem if it gets any darker. I can't keep fighting in this state. If only Shadow were with me. Scream! She might slack off at times, but she would never ignore her partner being in danger. I made chicken and dumplings. Ooh. Yes, please. Numb food. Even the elves might crowd around and make a fuss if they saw me like this. Perhaps Alexis would also be worried about me. Yes, but he cannot lift a hand to help us. Why is there a bear? Where is the bear coming from? Oh no. The scent of my blood had attracted an even larger predator. Its round face and ears gave it an benign, innocent appearance. Yet the sharp black scales sticking out between patches of fur couldn't mask the ferocity of this beast. Wait, again. Bear. Bear. Bear? Scales. When I see scales, I think of fish. Has scales another meaning that I don't know of? Just to make sure. Hogness, hi. Can bears have scales in this world? I don't know. I guess no. I have seen elves as magical creatures. I have seen an intelligent hamster. I have seen wolves. But none of them were like strange, like from the outside. They looked how you would think they look. Okay, it's a little bit weird that the hamster was intelligent, but they looked like a hamster. Why does this bear have scales? And patches of fur? I'm confused. Hogness, welcome to the madness. What is this? What kind of snake bear are we talking about? Isn't that bear an Amaurosus? Amaurosus? Known for their armor like scales? Wait, what the heck is an Amaurosus? Amaurosus. ist ein A. A. M-A-O-A-S. Ja. I googled the word, but it doesn't show anything besides the Winter Tower. So I guess this is a word made up for the game. Good. Thank you. According to Google, nothing. Yeah. So this bear is specific in this game. I was wondering if it is maybe a magical creature, you know, some areas have like legendary creatures, but apparently not. Isn't that bear an Amausis known for their armor-like scales? On top of that, it looks hungry too. I'm in danger. What should I do? Should we fight? I'm not sure. Bears are fast. We are hurt. Fight? Sure, why not? I targeted its eyes. Also, the strategy was something that couldn't be done on sheer instinct. I had no other choice. My chance of victory is high if I can pull this off. The stuffed Amausis roared fiercely and charged towards me. What kind of bear is this fast? Bears are fast, dude. They can run. A flick of its paw was all it required to deflect my rapier, leaving me defenseless. Damn it. I need to put distance between us. Before I could even readjust myself, the bear's front paw struck my head. If only I hadn't faced the bear head on. I have the feeling we should redo this part. Ah, bad ending. The hungry Amausis. Failed to dodge the assault by an Amausis. I got an achievement for this. Oh, that is loud for you guys, sorry. I guess load? Okay, we are back at that part. Apparently the wolves weren't important enough. Then we fly? I guess. A single blow was all it would take to kill me. Fighting in the mouses was too high of a risk to take. I need to flee this area now. I leaped to avoid the first blow. When I dodged the following blow as well, the mouses roared in annoyance. Yeah, I'm too annoyed. It's charging forward. I managed to gather the strength to fall to the opposite side. The Amausis crashed into a tree at a frightening speed. With a terrible thud, the grand birch tree which took the hit fell to the ground. The impact didn't leave a single scratch on the bear, of course. Of course, why wouldn't it? Why would it? It paid no attention to the fallen tree and turned its thigh back to me. Ugh. That dodge from earlier caused my right leg to cramp. Okay, so we have bites in our left leg and now a cramp in our right one. Not now. It would be turned into goop if I didn't act immediately. I have the feeling in a fight or flight situation you wouldn't feel a cramp. Normally there's too much adrenaline in your body to feel like stab wounds, for example. You can go. I have the feeling a cramp wouldn't hinder you from running away. I raised my rapier with a shaky hand and took a deep breath. The moment the Amausis was about to charge for a second time, a sharp whistle caught the bear's attention. Alexis? There came Alexis, dashing towards us. He threw something amidst the clopping of a familiar horse. While the Amausis was distracted by the object, Alexis hastily jumped off Shadow and draped his cape over my shoulders.
I'm sorry I was late. Let's head back to the tower.
Oh, my hero. Cannot use a spoon, but helps us this way. Grant. Alexis swiftly lifted me up and put me on the saddle, wasting not a single second. Like that, we fled the scene. Was Alexis always so strong? As if he feared that I might fall off the horse, he firmly held onto my waist. How silly. I would never fall off a horse, even if I were injured. Food is posted, thank you. The elves sweated from sheer anxiety when they were met by Alexis' solemn expression. He refused to joke around or smile. The tiniest elf in particular shed tears as large as his own eyes.
Your pranks put Ekaterina Ivanova's life in danger.
Ah, Ekaterina. Ekate. Okay.
You should have heeded my warning the first time. Regardless of how much you like human beings, you must never play pranks on them as you would to one another.
You would do these pranks on one another? His warning reminded me of the drifting sparkles I saw when the baby elf touched me earlier. Perhaps they were indeed magical. The baby elf quietly listened to Alexis's lecture like a child being scolded by his father.
Being young is no excuse.
I would argue he was apparently just born. I mean, at some age you would understand consequences, you know? Or you should start learning consequences. But if you are so young, being young can still be an excuse. But it's, you know, you still can learn as a child. Okay? There is a difference. There's no excuse to learn, so let's say it that way. But doing dumb stuff in the first place, if you don't know it better yet, yeah, a little bit.
Since you broke the rule and played a forbidden prank, you must now bear an equivalent punishment.
You would punish a newborn? Well, you know, what kind of punishment? Alexis paused for a moment.
That depends on the gravity of the wrongdoing.
Okay.
It can range from being as lenient as restricting their entry and exit from the chimneys, to one as severe as confiscating their hat.
Is that bad? The elves trembled like trees amid a storm at that last statement. Why is their hat so important?
It may seem cruel, but there's no other choice.
I can see not leaving the room. You know, that's a fine, more or less fine punishment for a child, okay? I wonder what the hat means.
An elf must be responsible for their actions once they leave the fireplace.
Did he say they confiscate their hats? Yes. Yes, he said that. I don't know what that means, though. Maybe they are... I now imagine their heads to just cover up their baldness underneath. So it's the highest punishment, since everybody else would see their eggheads. I don't know. Maybe it's... their magic is stored in their head, so they cannot use their magic anymore? I don't know. Bald. Yeah, everybody around them then screams bald, and that's the punishment. Maybe it's like the head guy. Do you mean to say the elf may have to give away his head?
It's as you suspect.
What does that do?
Hats are like an elf's heart.
Oh.
And without it, he'll gradually cease to move.
Okay, question. if you put the head back onto the elf that doesn't move, will they at some point start moving again? Because if you take away a person's heart, then they will not just start moving by putting the heart back after days. You know? Stop moving could be a really nice way to say cease to exist. Wait, are you having death penalty in this game about baby elves? What is this? That's just the head guy. What will happen if he completely stops moving?
He will fall into an eternal sleep.
Yeah, he kills them. Uh-huh.
At that point,
yeah,
he won't come back, even if his hat is returned.
So you have death penalty. I'm not okay with that. Especially not if we are talking about a child playing a more or less simple prank on me. Getting lost in the woods by forgetting where left and right is. The atmosphere was so heavy that I couldn't bring myself to respond. I understood why the elf were forbidden from playing serious pranks on humans. Wait, but they are not that severe punished if they do it to other elves? Though it was a dangerous prank, getting his head taken away would be too harsh. It would have made me uncomfortable to see the baby elf have his head, which was essentially his heart, taken away. I was positive that Alexis didn't want that happen either. If I promise I'm okay, will you reduce the severity of his punishment?
Ekaterina?
Yes. I patted the baby elf's tiny head. It's true that I may have been put in danger, but I don't think he intended to hurt me. Isn't that so? Yes, it cannot even talk correctly. The baby elf gently nodded. Sorry.
You nearly died, Kate.
Yeah.
Are you truly okay with this?
Well, I'm not okay with being almost dying, but you know, it wasn't their idea for me to get attacked by wolves and bears. That wasn't part of the prank, even though it led to it. Alexis asked me again, almost as if he couldn't believe I made such a request. Who do you think I am? I was a little unsteady when I confronted the armorers, but I wasn't about to keel over and die. Alexis, you nearly died. Chaos, eh? Yeah, you see, it depends. If grown-ups, teenagers, you know, people who understands consequences, play a prank and something severely happens out of it, that you could have seen beforehand, could have happened. It doesn't have that you have to want to happen, but you could have thought, okay, if I blindfolded somebody or blinded somebody with light and then let them run because they are panicked, because I make horror noise behind them, and they are falling down a cliff that is nearby. Then I would argue, well, you could have seen that this would happen. You are, even though you don't want that to happen, and you may say, oh, it was just a prank, you could have seen that happening in the future. You know? This child is a child that cannot yet talk correctly. I doubt it has the foresight to figure out that if you leave a human being in the woods, not knowing left and right, I guess he could see, oh, she will not find back. Oh, how funny, ha ha ha. But I doubt the child would figure out, oh, if they are long enough outside, there might be the possibility for them to get attacked by wolves and bears. I mean, how likely was that in the first place? So, yeah, no. And the child is sorry, okay? Even though it didn't understand what happened, it still is sorry, and it will learn out of it. Instead of, like, teenagers and older people who are like, oh, it was just a prank, I didn't want it to happen. You know, making excuses instead of owning up to it. This child says at least, I'm sorry. So no, I don't want them to fucking get their head taken away. Your bowl is posted on Chaos Discord servers. Jesus. I'm even confused that we have death penalty in this in this game.
If you're positive, I suppose we can let it go this once.
Yeah, please. The baby elf apologized countless times. His eyes were swollen from crying by the time he returned to the chimney. Alex's first aid skills were terrible. It was as if he had never done it before. Well, I guess he didn't. Following my instructions, he ineptly cleaned the wound, applied ointment to it, and then bandaged my leg. After the quick first aid, he made stew for dinner. Wait, he can cook now? My hunger was insatiable, so I gulped it down.
Kate.
Yes?
I'm sorry that you got hurt.
That's fine. As long as the child isn't murdered. It wasn't your fault.
Quite the contrary.
Uh-huh.
I was well aware young elves' pranks could go too far. Yet I let my guard down.
Okay, so what really is happening here is that you feel responsible for what happened to me. And therefore you are lashing out on the child to feel better about your own shortcomings. That's not okay, dude. I pushed my empty bowl to the side and leaned back against my armchair. Alexis.
Yes?
When you said that elves would be punished if they played prohibited pranks, what you told me when we first met came to mind. It reminded me of your so-called punishment. You don't have to tell me what it is if you don't wish to. I just thought, in that regard, you and the elves were quite similar. I know that you are a human, but you like sweets like them, know so much about them, and they come to you for help, don't they? Like children running to their father. Are you their father? Is he the father? We need to do a DNA test. Aren't you also being punished for a mistake you made in the past? Alexis stared at the burning fireplace as he spoke.
A mistake. Perhaps it was. But I would make the same mistake all over again, even if I were given a second chance.
Okay. Alexis didn't explain further. I had no idea what this mistake of his was. I have another question for you, Alexis. What did you throw at the Morus earlier?
A sweet. Our Marcy especially loves sweets.
Something you baked yourself? Did they turn out better this time? Instead of answering my questions, Alexis handed me a colorful meringue cookie with a cup of tea. Sure. Unlike the burnt cookie I had this morning, these meringue ones look decent. I picked an appealing pink meringue cookie and took a half bite. Blah! Alexis burst into laughter when I frowned. Seeing Alexis laugh like a kid eased me up.
I've always wanted to try that prank myself.
Did you put salt in there? He was still his usual self. The man who loved sweets, the man who often spoke nonsense, and the man who always took me seriously. Alexis, I have a question for you. Another one. Whoosh? The winter wind whistled beyond the frozen window. Swoosh, slap. The warmth of Alexis' face faded.
Kate, I believe we have visitors.
Multiple. Visitors. But the fireplace is still ablaze.
Not for me.
Oh.
They're most likely here for you.
Ah. Yeah, the visitors my family sends. Oh. Duel. Wait, I have still a bite wound on one leg, and I hope the cramp is over for now. I rushed to the window. Under the dark sky stood Igor, surrounded by a quadron of knights. I see. The thief incident must have been intended as a distraction for Romanov. Thief incident? Thief incident? Huh? But how? Those knights swore their loyalty to my father. They would never betray him just because he was bedridden. He could certainly bribe a couple of soldiers into obeying his orders. However, 2 months would definitely not be enough to persuade them all. I should find out what happened once I get back to the castle. For now I can only hypothesize. Alexis stood by my side. I have a question. How many times do I have to say this?
What is it?
Do you know self-defense? That wasn't what I meant to ask. I figure Igor would bring a few soldiers with him, but the situation could become dire if any of them are experienced. Why don't we just close the door? He locked the doors at the beginning of the game, and he opened them. Alexis did that. And we weren't able to open them with an axe. So how about we just close the door? I might not be able to protect both you and myself. Ah, another robot. As Alexis began to open his mouth, Igor shouted. Ekaterina Ivanova, you criminal! Open this gate immediately! What is he talking about? I'm no criminal. No good could come from welcoming the entourage with an open gate, so I peeped out the window and shouted back. How dare you call me a criminal? Scumbag! Ugh, his face. Long time, so see, Katie. He's become even more disgusting over the past 2 months. Igor smirked lecherously. Well done on securing the locks. What a wonderful bride to be. Bride? My compliments. Keep them to yourself. You had better obey my order and open the gates this time. Oh, Igor. Igor snaps his finger and Romanov was dragged out from amongst the soldiers bound in ropes. He looked disheveled and tired. His usual tidiness was gone. You crafty bastard, why is he crafty? Getting his throat slit as a reward for its 30 years of devotion to Ivanov would certainly be a wretched end, don't you agree? The knights held Romanov by his head and placed his sword against his neck. Allow me to correct you, Igor. If you lay a finger on Romanov, you will never step foot on these grounds. You have it all wrong. The life of your dear old Chamberlain is in my hands. I think the chicken and dumplings came out well. Agnes is on his 3rd bowl. I mean, yeah. Everything you cook is grand. So yeah. If you don't open this gate straight away and drop onto your knees... Don't kid yourself. How long do you think you will last out there if I don't let you in? It appears that you have marched all this way without stopping to sleep. Aren't you and your man at your limit? Katie, there's a limit to how much rudeness I will tolerate. Do not irritate me any further. I demand that you come out this instant. Get down here. Igor screams his head off, but he was in no rush to kill Romanov. I close the window and wish to whisper to Alexis. Why do we whisper? I'm their target, Alexis. If you hide in the basement, they won't bother to search for you.
Do you plan to fight them all by yourself?
I mean, I killed 13 wolves of a pack, so I guess I can. Since they have a hostage, I can't simply sit back and ignore them. How about we throw stuff at them? If we are high enough and just drop it out the window, they will be dead. Plus, running and hiding isn't my style. It's alright. Don't worry about me. Those knights are loyal to my father, so they won't harm me. When Alexis saw my determination, he responded,
I trust you.
You should
come back unharmed.
Ha! Klar. Sure. Damn it! What's taking her so long? Well, I'm up here and need to come down. Break down the gate! Do it now. Young Master Igor, we... Give it up, you imbecile! The knights aren't there to listen to your incessant whining? The knights showed courtesy but remained on their horses. I see your mouth has become filthier since leaving the castle. From the very beginning I never wished to speak to you. Every word you speak kills one of my brain cells. Igor fumed for a while, then smiled in triumph, as if he came to a sudden realization. Now I understand why you are so full of yourself. You don't understand what kind of situation you are in, do you? Igor tugged on the rope that bound Romanov. Why don't you try guessing why your Chamberlain, who devoted 30 years of his life to the Ivanov family, is all tied up? I have no excuse. Romanov's head dropped. Guess what? Oh, guess what? That you are levying accusations against me and tortured Romanov into giving a confession as my accomplice? Igor gritted his teeth when I hit the nail on the head. The torture was merely a means to find the truth. Yeah, sure. You know what you have done. Let's keep this short. I don't want this conversation to drag on either, so let's get to the point. I shall let your rudeness go, since we will soon have plenty of time to talk. Your coming-of-age ceremony has been cancelled. And? Ekaterina Ivanova, you shall return to the castle not as Ivanov's heir, but as a criminal. What exactly are you accusing me of? You fled after making an attempt on the reigning Lord Ivanov's life, disguised the attack as a horse-riding accident, and then stole the Ivanov's family signed ring. Don't make me laugh. Are you trying to say that I attempted to murder my own father? Do you even know? Everything has been personally testified by our father, the present Lord himself. What? When Igor uttered something shocking, I felt dizzy as if I had been punched in the head. That's impossible. Mother anticipated that answer from him. Someone deliver this to Katie. Igor snapped his fingers and one of the knights got off from his horse to deliver a letter from Igor. It doesn't bear the family's signature, but this is certainly father's handwriting. Dear Ivy, I discovered the truth of the incident recently. On God's name, I never expected my title to turn a person into the green-eyed monster. Now that the truth has been revealed, you need not complete your coming-of-age ceremony to become the heir. I have given my order to the knights. I would appreciate it if you return to the castle without any resistance. Your right to succession will be removed should you refuse to return within 1 week of receiving this letter. The drops of ink smeared across the page proved Father had struggled to finish writing this. I gently folded the letter and put it in my pocket. When did Father awake? Around 2 weeks ago. Lord Ivanov said he pretended to be unconscious in order to trick Romanov into believing he was still powerless. I doubt that. I don't think he's making this up. Now, do you realize what kind of trouble you are in? I silently drew my rapier. I've always wished for the opportunity to stitch your mouth closed. I suppose the time has finally come. Are you going to fight all these knights by yourself? Don't waste your energy trying to do the impossible. Igor arrogantly gestured toward his entourage. Perhaps if I tame you now, you will quiet down and learn how to be a proper housewife. Oh, you will get stabbed. The knights marched forward, grasping the hilts of their swords. However, they were reluctant to draw their weapons because all of them, taking on one swordswoman alone, went against chivalry. I cannot say it, I know what it is. I don't hold it against you. I know you're only following my father's orders. You over there, draw your sword. The knight I pointed at dismounted his horse and drew his weapons. Please allow us to escort you back to the castle peacefully. Oh? You think you can best me? This will be different from our usual training sessions. The knight sighed and redid his stance. His moment of hesitations passed in the blink of an eye. His sword turned into an aggressive fang. Here he comes. The way he speaks to me tells me that he is... Father's knight, I guess? Unquestionable, my father's knight. I should incapacitate him. Though I was better in terms of technique, the knight had the overwhelming physical advantage because he was taller and had longer arms. However, he wasn't told to bring me back dead. This gave him an extra challenge. He aimed for my wrist. It was an attempt to disarm me by forcing me to drop my weapon. But I'm not so foolish as to let that happen. I dodged the first attack and briskly struck my rapier at his oblique. When my opponent avoided my attack, he created an opening to tenaciously retaliate with his sword. He has good concentration, meaning he's weak to surprises. I feel asleep. Oh, cute. Cute shocked cat. And no worries, that happens often in this chat. Time to play a trick on him. I purposely let go of my rapier, spun half a turn, then kicked my rapier towards the sky. What in the... The sword flew aimlessly through the air. It only took a few seconds for my opponent to react, but it was more than long enough to decide the match. I thought as my rapier stopped in front of his neck. How naive of you. As you said, this was no training session. I surrender. Huh? That trick would not work in real life. The knight put his sword into its stash and quietly stepped back. Another knight stepped forward. You won't last long. Surrender while we are still feeling generous. Try me. Where are your manners? The knight adjusts his grips on his sword while clicking his tongue. Here he comes. Judging from the way he spoke, this knight must be... Okay, what did he say? The knight pushes forward. You won't last long. Surrender while we are still feeling generous. Where are your manners? I have the feeling that one is a assassin. If I were Melissa, I would have hidden an assassin amongst the knights. Judging from his rude attitude, it must be him. As anticipated, the assassin attacked me with moves that wouldn't be taught in knight training. I quickly ducked to avoid his blow and went straight for his leg. Ah! It was good soup, okay? The wounded assassin regained his composure. With a menacing expression, he drew a dagger that had been hidden below his wrist armor. I can't let that digger nick me. A strike to his dagger forced him to drop the weapon. I immediately subdued him and pulled his helmet off. The knight around me gasped. You don't know him, do you? Neither do I. Father wouldn't have ordered you to kill me, am I wrong? I shoved a piece of cloth in the assassin's mouth to stop him from attempting to end his own life. This is strange. The knights finally realized that somebody has hidden an assassin amongst them. They turned away from me and pointed their swords at Igor. Let Romanov go, while I still have the patience. There we go. We did it. And we have 2 hours. Today I want to wait out on point to Rekudo. Because I did something and yeah, we will see. Is he online? There we go. Today I have a lot of people that I could raid into. Jesus. There. Big stretch. Whee. What did I miss? You missed that we raid out. Oh, okay, that is an older message. Sorry. Not lot. Not a much. Maybe headache. I guess. Tomorrow and the day after I have to work, so there's no stream on these 2 days. I'm thinking about streaming on the weekend, maybe. Because I have to work this week so much, again. It depends how I feel after 2 work days with so many hours. I believe next week Monday should then be the next stream, if I remember correctly. The next planned one at least. Map. I don't care. Yeah, next week Monday should then be the next planned one. Oh yeah, wait message. There we go. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for chatting, and we will see us latest Monday. Have a good night and a good evening or a good time zone. And bye-bye.